again to another episode of the Nigerian Theatre Witnesses to History. Again, our guest is multi-talented JAHMAN OLADEJO Anikulapo. To some people, a performer, to others, a writer, an editor, a fundamental person committed to the growth of art, and he is never tired. He's always willing to contribute to the direction that he thinks art must go. You're welcome again to this episode of
Thank you very
Nigerian
much.
Theatre Witnesses to History. Incidentally, he was the first person, after the idea for this podcast was formed, he was the first person with whom I discussed the program in Nigeria 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
And he was enthusiastic. We spoke and spoke at the Freedom Park, and today, finally, we have a chance to record him so that even generations unborn would know that people have been committed to the art, and they are the ones who have made the art to continue to live. You're welcome again.
Thank you, sir.
And now, we spoke about your early experiences the previous time. Let's go on to how you jumped from being a performer, a stage manager, a stage technical person, to becoming a writer.
Okay. Well, you know, everything, that's what you call connecting the dots. Remember I said in the last interview that Bentomoloju was not just a teacher. He wasn't just bringing us together to just do theater. He made sure he carved us to be multi-skilled. So we're also writers.
Incidentally, I want our viewers to also know that Ben Tomoloju, whom we call Benocaster, from the university, was a multi-talented artist.
In fact,
as
that
well.
was anything.
He was a designer, he was a writer,
Singer,
he was
composer,
a performer,
arranger.
a singer, arranger.
Even a painter.
We will be also a painter. We'll be bringing him also very soon, but that was somebody that influenced JAHMAN a lot.
He actually made me an artist.
Yeah.
I think I could have been, as a
Maybe instead of saying you didn't like sociology, you would have just settled for it.
Oh, yeah.
If you didn't have his
I
influence.
had my first scholarship in 1981 to go to the US. But he had already put me on television. If I remember the day I went to my dad, when, you know, I made one of the best scores in HSA.
Yes.
And we're in Awaru Islam College. Awaru Islam College was one of the elite schools.
Yes.
And we were chosen, I think I was number 3 or so, for us to give us scholarship. And I went to the Mr. Ilaka, tall, huge, maybe that man was like 9 feet. I remember he said, I'm not going to any US. Said, what am I going
You
to
said
do
that?
there? Yes, I'm on television. I was on 3 TV programs.
You didn't want to japa?
No, 1981.
Wow.
I was an actor. I was acting in 2 different productions, and Kakaki, which Bentomoloju formed, had a musical program going on TV. Why will I leave all of that to go to the US? I said, no, I'm not going. And I was still playing football and running my, I think it was 1,500 meters or so. So I was not going. And they sent message to my dad, because my family house was not too far from Ahmadiyya College.
Ahmadiyya.
So, and the man summoned me and my father 7+. And he was saying, no, why are you not going? I said, no, I am not going. As it will happen, that same evening when he was almost telling me, get out of my house, there was a program on TV, and I was there. So and his friend who came around to drink, because
on TV.
all of them normally came to our family house then too. Say, we can see OLADEJO. I said, So it became important. He said, okay, anything you want to do,
Go and do it.
And then I was processing admission. He didn't know I was going because of football to UI.
Yeah.
And then, in fact, it was a funny thing that when I graduated, he thought I did sociology.
Ooh.
It was on my graduation day that I knew that it was theater I did because I cut them off because I was making money. I was, you know what we call the purple form at NTA.
Yeah.
I was collecting it and all of that. Anyway, to go back to the writing. So Bentomoju insisted that we must understand literature.
Yeah.
He was already leader writer at Punch.
Right.
So he will make sure every Saturday we will sit down and analyze script and write. You don't just analyze, you must write. And you count what you have written. Anybody who doesn't write, we didn't write then, you'll be surcharged. And I
Really?
was
You were the
I was a
enforcer.
record keeper. So we were writing and it was in Punch. So we started writing and he would go and publish it in Punch.
Oh, at that time.
Young people, we are not even in university yet. He will publish it in Punch because he was leader writer at Punch. He was the one writing the editorial and he also handling the art pages and co. So we write and so it became part of one. So that when I was then in University of Ibadan, I continued writing. Then he went to work in the Weekly Democrat.
Right.
He was submitting articles and was publishing them.
Right.
Then he went
That
to
was the broadsheet.
the broadsheet. Then he went to Guardian, and he was still writing. I was still writing, and then he was publishing them. And I was in Ibadan, so I could write from Ibadan and send
to him.
Yeah, and he would publish. So I became so writing became like a
Part of
natural thing. That I used to be accused of producing tomes. I would write for Daily Guardian, Weekend Guardian, Lagos Life, Guardian Express. I was like maintaining 7 pages a week.
How did you find time to
I
read?
didn't even understand what I was doing. I was doing all of that. And then, but right about that time too, Gido Ogumade was in Radio Nigeria.
Yes.
He was producing drama with Benga Riba, Tom Prabarowe and co. So Gido Ogumade would say he was producing a program called Literature and Society.
Right.
Which means that you take a book, you read it, and then you interpret it in the context of what is happening.
Today's society.
Yeah, and I became the lead contributor to that that program.
Yes.
So I will read A Man of the People and analyze it and write it in longhand.
Yes.
I'll read No Longer Artists, I'll read Shoyinka, any book or Shovi song, and write every Saturday. And so, and I must finish that book. Because if you don't finish it, there's no way you can write.
Yes.
So reading and writing became second nature to work. So that's where the writing thing came up. It came from my theater.
Yes.
Yeah. But then to become a full-time journalist, not only the Ajo production, where making rehearsal at a place in Ijesha. I remember that street called Additional Street, or a bungalow.
Yes.
So we would sleep, there was no light. So most of the time when we done rehearsal in the night, we were rehearsing last to me. In the night, we would sleep outside in the mosquito because if you know Ijesha very well, the gutter is in front of you.
Yes.
So one day, there was only one person who was writing consistently on Toyin Akinsho.
Right.
And then maybe Akim Shita,
Right.
Kole Adi Oditola. So Richard just said, all this wahala what would they do? Richard was the lead of last minute.
Okay.
So all this wahala what would they do? You know, people know the writing now about, or if not before Toyin where they come. Say, yeah, but we can be writing now. And so we write, and it was fraudulent actually, because we write about our play
Yes.
and put somebody else's name. We invented so many names. Oh yeah. I can't remember all the names I've invented. You write and then make sure you send it to, because Bentomoju was there, all his friends, Shegun Adeleke and Kode, were all editors.
Yeah.
So Akim Ikandu, who is dead now, you send it to them, they'll publish. So that was why to write for the newspaper now became compulsory. But an intervention during the Matasini riot in Kafanchan, I was serving in Kafanchan.
Okay.
And I kept on writing about what was going on, but using other names. So I'll write and go and send through a vehicle that will go from Kafanchan to Kaduna, from Kaduna to Lagos. And the thing was coming out, but I knew I was one writer everybody knew. So when the riot happened in 1987, I was returned and we were sent back, coppers.
Yes.
So we were sent back and I entered vehicle. I remember that when I got to Ibadan, my money got exhausted. And I had to enter, all these trucks at Ojo that brings cow.
Cows and...
So when there was no money to use my money to drink, I just entered the back, paid the motor boy some money, entered myself and the cow. That's how we got to Lagos. I was smelly, and I had no money to now go to my parents' house in Agege. So I look right, left, okay, Guardian is there now, Ben will be there, and he can give me a ride, because he lived in Agege too. I said, okay, let me just go to the Guardian, and so I'll wait for him until when it was closed. Then he will take me to my father's house. So I got there. As I was getting in there was when Stanley Makebo, the legendary Stanley Makebo, was walking in. And Ben said, MD, this is the JAHMAN Anikulapo that you say you don't know. That this is the guy who has been writing for. Because they already assumed that it was Ben. I so copied Ben Tomology so much that my language, I couldn't write like him. But the way we deployed language, diction and co. So they thought he was the one writing that was forging. Say, this is the guy. I said, oh yeah? Okay, follow me. So I went with him to his office. Funny thing, I'd never seen cognac before.
Yeah.
So he just pointed to it. He said, maybe said something like, he spoke brilliant American. Say, whiskey or brandy? I didn't hear very well. I just said, cognac.
I like that.
He laughed.
Cognac.
Cognac. So he said they should give me. I've never tasted that. Greedy Ojukoko.
You are promoting yourself.
I poured the thing. I really barraged it. I drank it. How I got to downstairs, because his office was upstairs. How I got downstairs, I can't remember. And he gave me a cigar to smoke. So when I got there, I couldn't make it back to Ben's office. I just went to the reception. There's an ante room.
Yeah.
Entered there, I just left off. So when Ben closed, usually they will close around 9 or 10.
Yes.
He didn't see me.
He thought you had left.
I'm talking on 1987. He thought I'd gone. So he went home.
Left you there?
Yeah. So it was in the morning when the lady, I remember a very big lady, said, what are you doing here, copper? I said, Mr. Automology is not here now. She came around to 8.
Yeah.
He said, okay, don't go and sit in front of his office. He took me to front of Ben's office. So I sat down there. Everybody who came thought I was a copper. He started giving me paper to write. But he brought some script that I should sub. The first time I had sub. To sub is so.
Yes.
They just give me, I said, this is the job. I sat down there. When it was lunchtime, they took me to eat one Magnus Ekpe or so. I will never forget that guy. He was the one who just, he said, let's go. So he went to buy me lunch, bought me drink. He came back and started sobbing. Until Ben came in the evening, because Ben was still doing it. Now so sweet. That's how I became a journalist. And Ben just absorbed me into his
department.
So now there was not a struggle in the newsroom. They wanted me to be on the news. The sub guy wanted me to be on the sub. But I have to work with Ben Tomology.
Right.
And then there was a guy called Gilio Shadipe. He's a professor now. Gilio too said, come and be writing for Lagos, like you write very well. And so that's how journalism just found me.
That's right. And it never let you go.
I've been doing that forever.
Never let you go.
Yeah.
You did very well. You did very well.
So I always say I'm a child of encounters. People I've encountered in my life. Ben is number one. And then encountering the Adilugba, and people just have a way. We all need mentors. That's what I always tell people. We all need mentors.
We need mentors. We need mentors.
So if I didn't encounter them, I say it. On my birthday when they asked me the question, I think it was in this studio too. And he said, what would have happened if you didn't? I said, I would have been an area boy. Because people who grew up around me, even though in a way my dad was, we're not aristocrats, but we're elites. Because if your father at that time had like 2 cars, had about 10 houses, and was running chain of taxi, he had
you were an aristo.
Yes, he was distributing top beer. All the musicians mentioned them. And Even all these younger one like a barista, they used to come drink in my father's house. So if I was already moving in that circle,
Yes.
I know that the environment itself was rough. So most of the kids who grew up, they didn't want to go to school. So I was just lucky that I encountered
You did.
OLADEJO and some other people. So
You did. Now, you moved from just writing or editing into creating organizations that went into the nitty-gritty of the arts and started giving an impetus to the arts. I'm talking now of your involvement with the Kora. Tell me how that happened.
Well, I think how to think of that, because I've never really thought about it. But what I can say, for one, is that the kind of training I had in Kakaki also prepared me to be a producer.
Yes.
Because training under OLADEJO, as I've said, it was a school. It was an all-rounded school that you are not just being trained as an actor. You are being trained as a director.
Yes.
You're being trained as a stage manager. You are being trained as a producer without you knowing it. We were learning how to coordinate show, how to run road shows. I could take a show from here and take it all over Nigeria because I know what to look for.
Yes.
So those training already prepared me for that. Now, so that is one, that training. And which already, and if you train as a director in UI,
yes,
you are trained both as a
director
and a producer. Because I mean, look at the
it's
brevity of our training.
Full
You are even a business manager.
Yeah.
When you encounter people,
You must learn everything.
You must learn
you are a
box
counselor,
office management,
you are,
everything. Yes. They forced me to do adult education. For that's why I couldn't make first class because so why would I do adult education? Is it because you are supposed to be is it called guidance and counseling?
yes, you must
and
counsel.
counseling thing.
You must guide
You must be
people.
able to use your play.
You must be able to help
Everybody,
actor,
anybody
actress
yes.
that comes your way.
Yes. Yeah.
That was the way
Yeah.
they taught us directing.
So the training aspect was there, but the second one was that I spent. If I joined Guardian in 1987, up to 1992, when OLADEJO was still around, I was reporting.
Yes.
They immediately left. If I already wrote a recommendation that I should be the one to succeed him, so they made me assistant arts editor.
Right.
I became assistant editor, deputy editor,
Right.
then Sunday editor. So I spent all my years writing about what others were doing.
Yeah.
And most of the time, because my sensibility as a critic, I was trained as a critic, my sensibility was different from what others were doing. I've been trained to understand that for a production to go well, you must have all the resources.
Yes.
Both human and material resources
Yes.
must be there for you to be able to produce a good show. Now, my training as a critic, I'm supposed to write about what somebody has done. And I'll write my frustration out. I'll say, I've seen this play, it's not properly done, this is it. But as a critic, you should be able to also understand the circumstances
That give birth to what you
every
saw.
production is circumstantial. You have to be able to say, okay, if, let me look at the poster I'm looking at, Battleground is produced here in Nigeria. The resources they put in this one, it's like drawing blood.
Yes.
Battleground will be produced in another place. Everything is almost there for you.
Yeah.
Well, not everything, don't let me exaggerate, but
Nearly all
the
things.
environment, they don't have to deal with no light.
Yeah.
You don't have to deal with the generator noise from, the full story of somebody was reviewing Nollywood and they say, abroad, and they said, why is it that somebody was singing from beginning to the end of Nollywood? You say, no, that Mama Son, they don't go market. They were using it to block generator noise. That is circumstantial.
Yeah.
That's peculiar to Nigeria.
Yeah.
The people in Kenya may not even experience it, or in Europe.
Yeah.
Why do you need generator on a location unless you don't have power?
Yeah.
So you have to think of the environment of production and because it will influence what you
Definitely.
do. Or how do you even deal with actors or performers who have just battled problem at home? An actor is leaving home, maybe he's had a fight with his spouse over not being able to provide for the family, and you want him to come on stage and give you 100%. Good job. It cannot happen.
No.
Because from what I look back to us in the criticism class, your performance on stage is a product of the baggage you bring, what they call cognitive structure.
Yes.
Your cognitive structure is what you are bringing in. You are coming to on set.
Yes.
You already have to jump. Somebody just told us that you have 5 hours just to come
To
to
travel, to work.
work, to work and to go back. So that person is coming on your set, and you think that you can get 100%. Good job. You can have it.
No, you can even get it, but you must know how to
Yeah, how to manage that.
manage
little
that.
energy. The
to
person
be
is
able
already
to
tired.
tease the person,
He's already tired by the time
to
he gets
excite the person
Yes.
to be able to perform and give you
Yeah. So I started
a
thinking.
reasonable performance.
Yes, I started thinking about the environmental factor that affect our artistic production. And at a point, I think I worked on myself and I said, look, I would rather concentrate on producing. What I've been criticizing, let me be doing my own
Let
thing.
me do
For
the
instance, I said I will not direct a play until when I have the resources. I
Yeah.
totally direct and I know what to do with a play.
Yes.
But I said I will not do it until when I have full resources. But I know what I saw when I did my final year project in school, the trial of the Dankimati.
Yes.
Like the school, nobody wanted, Biodina said he will not touch it. I said I will do it.
Yeah.
But I know that I had support from Lagos,
Yes.
from Adelu Banco. You know, so I started thinking of that environmental factors that will affect how you produce. And I wanted to start producing,
Yes.
to start testing this. Well, what we need actually is to ensure that the art, we continually advocate for the arts.
Yeah.
We continue to make art. How did religion, how did it become part of our life? It's because people were insisting. You may hate them, but they were insisting that this is the way to go.
Yeah.
You have no other way to survive and all of that. And we're saying, look, in an environment that is so disabled like this, that is impoverished, because we have to, Nigerians, we know we're impoverished.
Yes,
It's a poor nation.
Yeah.
Africa is a poor continent.
Yes. I want to say again that this is the Nigerian Theatre Witnesses to History, and our guests for this season is none other than JAHMAN OLADEJO Anikulapo. But today we'll end this episode here and go on to the next.